So I hope you guys enjoyed yesterday's film on how to put in an air intake from Mountune. I really enjoyed making it, so to be honest with you, I figured I'd make another one today. Today we're going to be putting in the recirculation valve by Mountune. It's a direct replacement for the stock unit. Stock unit's made out of plastic, has a spring inside of it instead of a plunger. The new unit is made out of billet aluminum, has a plunger inside of it instead of a spring. A little bit tougher, a little bit rougher, should hold up better to the boost. Now the good part about this install is that you don't need very many tools to do it. So all we're looking at is a breaker bar to break the wheel lug nuts loose, a torque wrench capable of 100 foot-pounds, small pair of needle nose pliers, T30 torque wrench, of course your wheel lug nut lock secure there, 1/4 inch ratchet, and we wouldn't be doing it unless we had the Mountune recirculation valve. Now I've already had loosened the lug nuts before I jacked it up. Wheel's barely off the ground. We don't want to go too high on this. What we're going to do is finish taking these wheel lugs off here and get this tire off. Now I know this piece isn't the easiest thing to see, that's why I had to bring the flashlight in, but if you look back you'll see that black piece right there with the 3 T30 Torx bits on it. They're kind of at an offset pattern, looks a little bit triangular-ish. That's the stock recirculation valve that we're going to be removing with the T30 and the 3/8 inch. Right on top of it is going to be your vacuum hose. We're going to be using the pliers to clamp the crimp down so we can pull the hose off and have complete access to the recirculation valve. I'm not going to lie to you that getting to this recirc valve is a little difficult. It's in a tight place. So what you can do is you can go ahead and use some extensions. Like on the bottom bolt, I happen to use this long 3/8 inch extension. This is a 12 incher right, 8 incher right here. This is a very handy tool to have right here. If any of you guys have ever been out there and picked up a 3/8 inch torque wrench and happened to break it, don't throw it away. Take the head off of it. Because now what you got? A little mini ratchet. And that works perfect for getting in almost all applications. Now I've went ahead and removed 2 out of the 3 bolts holding this on. It is spring tension, so whenever you're pulling that third one off, you're probably going to want to hold the recirculation valve in place until you get the bolt completely out, and then slowly take the recirculation valve out. Now that we've got the stock unit out of the car, you can see how flimsy it is. In fact, grabbing it, 1, 2, 3 pieces right there with a little rubber diaphragm here. This is the Mountune unit, which you can see is solid anodized. It doesn't have a rubber part here. It has a diaphragm here that's solid that pushes inward and releases the air out of the side. As you can see, it's greased, and whatever you do, and before you put it in, make sure that you have both rubber seals on here. There's a seal that goes across the front to secure this portion, and a secure going around the end to secure this portion. Now also take a look at your recirculation valve and make sure that the surface is clean so these seals can adhere to it correctly. You're now going to secure the Mountune unit using the stock hardware that came off of the OEM plastic piece. Alright, now that we have the Mountune unit all secured up, hand tightened, we're going to go ahead and reconnect that vacuum hose to it, put the wheel back on, and then we're going to run a little test that I've learned to see if it's working or not correctly. Now that we have the Mountune recirculation valve successfully installed, we're going to go ahead and test that by using that trick I was telling you about, which can also be used on blow-off valves. What you're going to want to do is put your car in neutral, make sure your emergency brake is pulled, and then you're going to go ahead and start it. From this point, we're going to watch the RPMs. Now, if installed correctly, we should be able to take the RPMs and give it a little bit of bleep and a little bit of gas, and them not wanting to stall out or sputter. See a nice smooth RPM flow there. Before you've got the full weight of the vehicle on the ground, you're going to want to go ahead and secure the lug nuts by doing a star and a circle pattern at about 50 foot-pounds to 75 foot-pounds. And then we're going to go ahead and torque it the full way around. And what I mean by a star pattern is starting with a 19mm socket on your torque wrench here. You set this, I set mine to 75. We go around, tighten all the lug nuts up to the 75. Now we're going to go ahead and release the weight of the vehicle. The audible sound with the Mountune recirculation valve should be quite different than just the intake on with the stock recirculation valve on there, as the Mountune one's a little bit tight, uses a piston instead of a spring and a rubber. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start it up and see if we can't catch the different notes. Well, now that we've installed that and you guys have gotten a chance to hear the sound of the Mountune recirculation valve in as opposed to with it out, I'm going to leave you with a few notes. When installing this project, if you choose to do it on your own, it is a little difficult just because of the tightness in the area where it's located near the axle and the turbo. So you're going to have a small pair of needle nose pliers, maybe smaller hands would be a help. Best scenario is to actually get it on a lift, put it up in the air so you can work at it standing level. One thing to keep in mind though, and a lot of videos and a lot of other instructions won't tell you this, but your turbo housing is made out of aluminum. And your bolts for the recirculation valve are also made out of aluminum. So when you're tightening this up, you don't need to go take it to a high torque. In fact, I hand tightened mine and then just gave it a little bit of a 90-degree turn. Any more than that, you're going to go into the territory where you may strip out your bolt. You may strip out the bolt that goes into your turbo, and then you're going to have to get into retapping it and make this project much bigger than it needs. All in all, I'd say it worked out pretty well. After I've driven the car a little while with the Mountune recirculation valve in it, and with the Mountune recirculation valve not in it, but the intake on, I've noticed that it cuts down on a lot of the whole wind tunnel noise, a lot of whooshing type noises. It makes the turbo more clearly defined when it's releasing the pressure, the extra pressure in the boost. It makes the spool sound a little bit better. The only thing though is I don't know what the age group is of most of the viewers watching this, but I don't know if you remember when you were 5, you could buy those little ribbed plastic things that you spin around in circles and would make like a howling sound. We're getting that with the Mountune recirculation valve. They do make a sound suppressor for it, which I will be doing as my next install video that gets rid of that noise. And that should clear things up quite a bit, make the turbo sound how it's supposed to, so you hear a nice spool. You hear a decent release, nothing ridiculous like a blow-off valve that you see on ridiculous Mitsubishi Eclipses. It's just a nice turbo spool and a nice release of the extra pressure. How the car should sound, basically. How the mechanics were made for it to sound. Just a little bit more audible, a little bit clearer, and even cleaner than stock. Another note that I'd like to mention is that after putting about 100 miles on it, I did notice that I've been ranging about 1 mile per gallon better on the dashboard. I don't know if that goes to say much, but it has been about 1 mile per gallon better than before the recirculation valve in the intake. So take that as you want it. I take it as a gas savings for now. Who knows what will happen in the future. But stay tuned for my next video. I have plenty more to install. Keep subscribing. More subscribers I get, the more that I can go ahead and make these videos and keep installing for you guys. I love making them, and I hope that you guys benefit from them, hearing them from you know, a real life person that's actually doing the work in their driveway, not a lot of people get the option of that. You're either going to spend, you know, this would have cost me $150 to have somebody put in, and I was able to do it in 45 minutes. Definitely worth my time, and saves me $150 to my next modification. Same thing with the air intake. And they're both in, they're both fine, everything's working great, the idle sits right, so as far as that goes, you know, you weekend warriors, you know, don't be afraid to get out and try it yourself, you know. Worst comes to worst, you might need to get a little help from somebody, but you definitely don't need to take it to a dealership to get a, you know, intake installed or a recirculation valve installed. I don't think that's necessary. And anybody with any kind of mechanical sense would be able to achieve that. You know, it might take a little bit longer, but you'll get it done. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching my video. And like I said, I will have more coming out. Just keep pressing that subscribe button because I need more subscribers to be able to release more videos. It's a long process here to cut and edit and everything. So you guys have a good day. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.